the Great Wisconsin Booyah Debate. Origins, traditions, and where to find the best bowl? Oh my gosh. The comfort food that divides Wisconsin. Hey there, my fellow food lovers and adventurers. Welcome back to the Traveling Cheesehead Podcast, your guide to the quirkiest traditions, best eats, and hidden gems across the Badger State and beyond. Today, we're diving into a hot and hearty Wisconsin tradition that's as much a part of our culture as cheese curds and Friday fish fries. That's it. I'm talking Booyah. Booyah. B-O-O-Y-A-H. Now, for those of you who are scratching your heads, wondering if I just sneezed or something, let me clarify. Booyah is not just a soup. It is a legendary, simmer for hours, stir with a paddle kind of stew that warms bellies, fuels community gatherings, and yes, sparks heated debates. So, what's actually in it? Who really invented it? And where can you find the best bowl of it in Wisconsin? Buckle up, because today we're tackling the Great Wisconsin Booyah Debate. And trust me, this one is personal. So you're probably saying, what is Booyah anyway, All right, let's start with the basics. If you're not from Wisconsin, or more specifically, northeastern Wisconsin, you might not ever have heard of Booyah. At its core, Booyah is a slow-cooked, hearty stew. It can be made with chicken or beef, or both, loaded with vegetables. So think of this bowl of hearty stew, and you're pulling that spoon through it, and it's got all these nice chunks of meat and vegetables like potatoes, carrots, maybe cabbage and peas, green beans. Oh my gosh. And it thickens slightly because it's cooked over an open flame for hours, sometimes even a whole day. It might be in this giant cast iron pot in some parking lot with the big paddle being stirred. This is not just a meal. If you haven't figured it out, it's an event. You don't just make a small batch of Booyah. Nope. You make it in a cauldron about the size of a bathtub. The key to Booyah, though, is the slow simmer, letting the flavors build over time. All of those different flavors kind of marrying each other to create that rich, deeply rich, comforting dish that's perfect for Wisconsin's crisp fall days, church picnics, and community fundraisers. But that's just scratching the surface, because Booyah isn't just a food, it's a battle of tradition. Now, the history and the big debate on Booyah, who really invented it? Depending on who you ask, you get very different stories about Booyah's origins. So I'm going to just share 3 different theories here. Theory number 1, the Belgian immigrants that came in through Green Bay. Many people, especially those in northeast Wisconsin, will tell you Booyah originated with the Belgian immigrants who settled in Green Bay and Door County. They brought a similar slow-cooked stew tradition from Europe and adapted it to the ingredients that were available here in Wisconsin. The word Booyah supposedly comes from a mispronounced version of the French word bouillon, meaning broth. I could see that. Bouillon, Booyah. Yes, okay. So this version makes sense, since Belgian settlements in Green Bay still have annual Booyah festivals to this very day. Okay, now let's see. Theory number 2. A Belgian school teacher in Green Bay. And this goes back to roughly the 1920s. A man named Eugene Van Dyke, a Green Bay school teacher. He's often credited with popularizing Booyah in the 1920s. The story goes that he was making a huge batch of chicken stew for a school fundraiser and called it Booyah, the twist on bouillon. It took off from there, and churches, firehouses, community groups, they all ran with the tradition. Okay. Theory number 3. It's a French-Canadian dish. Some folks claim Booyah is actually a variation of a French-Canadian dish called bouillon or Booyah. Since a lot of Wisconsin settlers were French-Canadian descent, it's possible this dish was modified over time into what we now call Booyah. I don't know. Which is it? What do you think? The most widely accepted answer is the Belgian immigrant theory. But honestly, the origins aren't as important as the tradition that it created. And speaking of traditions, how it's made and why that is such a big deal. If you think Booyah is just a soup that gets thrown together in a crock pot, oh, honey, are you mistaken? Bouillon is a full day, sometimes 2 days even, process. It's not uncommon for entire families or church groups to gather and cook it in massive kettles over an open flame. Now, first the bones. You need bones to make a proper Booyah stock. A good mix of chicken and beef bones simmered for hours. You've seen bone broth and heard the benefits of bone broth, and you see it sold in the stores now, bone broth. It is such an incredible layers of flavor, and it's healthier for you. Now, the meat, often a whole chicken, sometimes beef shank, extra richness. You're obviously going to pull the meat apart so that it's not just like one giant piece of meat in your Booyah. Then the vegetables. Kind of what you got. Carrots, potatoes, onions, cabbage, peas, celery, whatever you've got. That's what goes in for your vegetables. Some families have a very specific list and specific portions. It depends on your recipe. Now the seasonings. This is the magic. You're not going to get everybody's exact seasonings here. Black pepper, garlic, bay leaves, sometimes just a little vinegar for brightness. It depends on who's a cooking and stirring. Then comes that slow simmer. That's just as important as all of those ingredients. Booyah needs to cook at least 6 to 8 hours, but the longer, the better. Now the best part, the wooden paddle. That's right, it isn't stirred with some little spoon. You need a Booyah paddle to stir the kettle. I'm not talking take what was inside the canoe out when you're not out on the lake. You have your special Booyah paddle.
Oh, yeah.
Now, where to get the best Booyah in Wisconsin? Because when you're going to try something new, don't you want to try the best? You don't have to make the Booyah yourself. If you don't have the time, don't worry, because I know I just told you 1 to 2 days to make this. You can still find amazing Booyah around Wisconsin. So here are my top picks. The Booyah Shed in Green Bay. The first and only Booyah food truck now also has a permanent location. Serves up steaming bowls at farmers markets and events with their truck, or if you go to their restaurant, I like to throw a pulled pork sandwich on the side with that. What I like is that they've put in green beans and yellow green beans. I guess they'd be called yellow beans. So it's kind of like their little nod to our deer packers, a little green and gold in every bowl. Now there's Stella's restaurant in Bellevue, Wisconsin. Theirs is classic, rich, and 100% homemade. There's the Belgian Heritage Center. Now this is in Door County, Wisconsin. They host Booyah events where you can experience in the true Belgian, Wisconsin fashion, right out there in the big kettle with the open fire. So check, their Facebook page or their website so that you can find the dates. And then there's the Firehouse and Church picnics. Honestly, some of the best Booyah is usually at a church fundraiser, fire department benefit, or community event. They have the recipes that they've been passing down. So why is Booyah more than just a meal? At the end of the day, it really is more than just a stew. It's a bowl of Wisconsin history and part of our identity. It brings communities together. It warms up a cold Wisconsin night, and it's a tradition, one of ours that is still going strong today. So tell me, fellow Wisconsinites, do you have a favorite Booyah memory? Do you make your own at home? Or where is your favorite place to grab a steaming bowl? Drop us a line at the Wisconsin Road Trips Facebook group or in the comments here, so let's keep this debate going. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share it with your fellow Booyah lovers. Until next time.